What's up? So today we're going to be playing NHL 23. We're going no face cam again because for every tips video I'm just gonna have no face cam. There's no reason for you to see my face. We're going to be going through another build tips video where a lot of you guys were rightfully so, but a lot of you guys were a little bit disappointed that I didn't show my build that I used last time. So we're gonna go boom right into the build. We're gonna go right into it. This is the build I used. Take a screenshot, use it if you want. In my opinion, works best for me. Doesn't work for you, I'll tell you how to fix that. So I'm just gonna go through the build real quick before we get into the actual tips. So first of all, I have dialed in, okay, and I'll explain the attributes afterwards. So I have dialed in X-ray sponge. I have a good glove, a higher glove than everything else. Actually, just for now, it could be at 91, but I just have it as high as I can because it doesn't matter. So the glove and the stick, they're technically the same, but I don't really care. The glove is higher than the stick because I'll tell you why in a second. Speed 91 because if you saw my last build video, speed accounts for 5-hole, not movement. So I want that good speed for the 5-hole. 195 pounds, by the way, so it's a little bit faster. I know I said in my last build video I love 214, but 195 is treating me well, and that's the only way I can get 91 speed. It's the only way. Okay, 87 poke check because that's the only other thing I saw that I could upgrade with the second attribute. I guess I could put this on. Yeah, I'll just put this on. It doesn't really matter what I do here, so it doesn't affect me in any way. I barely ever poke check. I'm actually going to do glove low so I can get this to 95. Because like I said, for these two attributes, use my chart. At 95 is its own level. If I got to 96, I'm at the next level all the way to 99. And 96 is the same as a 99, remember. 96 through 99 is all the same. So 96 is the maximum you need for anything. No need to go higher than 96. 95 and then 91 is the next level, and then it goes to 95. So remember my chart, use my chart. It's somewhere in my community posts. All right, low agility, which is why I like the butterfly. I've never used a butterfly, by the way. I usually use a stand-up, but this is my perfect build that I tested out. Rebound control 89 because the butterfly is automatically good at rebounds, so there's no need for the rebound control to go up, especially with the attributes that I have on, which I will explain later. Vision 91. It's a shame because I could get it to 92, but 91 and 92 are the same thing. So 91 vision is the highest I can get, and this is the only problem with the butterfly build. It gets screened a lot. If you play sixes with this build, you will get screened. So you need to play with this build. If you use this build, you need to play with this build differently in sixes than in fours. And that goes for any butterfly build. So what I would do is play a half push to a full push out further if they're in the slot. If they're in the corners or anything, it doesn't really matter. Your goalie will react and stop it. But when they're in the slot, in the middle, anywhere, even if they're at the point, I play a half push out. And I do perfectly fine. So you do have to play different. If it's fours, it doesn't really matter. You don't get screened as much. You still do get screened sometimes, but not as much because in sixes, every shot is a screen. Alright, so now let's go through the attributes. I have dialed in because if you look at the requirements for dialed in to get it on, it says dialed in advanced boost in reaction time, recovery, and save ability after making 15 saves. That's true, but also helps with speed and rebound control. Now, we already discussed that speed helps 5-hole and not movement, so this technically helps my 5-hole and my rebound control. Even before 15 saves. If I put this on right now, if I don't get 15 saves, this still helps me with the rebounds. And that's why the rebounds on the butterfly are so good, and that's why I only have my rebounds at 89. And I also have, where is it? X-ray. I also have X-ray because if we look at the requirements for this, it helps me with 5-hole and vision. So any boost I can get in vision, I'm going to have on. Because this is the only thing, except for extra padding, that the requirement is vision and tip jar. But I have tip jar on a different build. It's unnecessary to have tip jar on for this build. because this is my neutral build. This is the build I use if they have everything or nothing on. Alright? Now, let's go into the other build. I have 3 builds, okay? Let's go into the other butterfly build. This build is for 1T. If they have a bunch of 1-timers on, I use this build. Okay, the only thing that's changed is the no timer. I just took off dialed in and put no timer on. Pretty self-explanatory, no need to go into a deep explanation. This build is for tips, because like I said in my other video, X-ray and tip jar work hand in hand. They work hand in hand. So if they have big tipper on, I'll use this build, because if I only have tip jar on, it won't be as good enough. If I only have X-ray on, it won't be as good. Even if the X-ray was in the golden category, that would still save big tipper the same. So having these both silver works the same way as if this X-ray was gold, except for screens, of course. But gold X-ray is not available on the butterfly build, unfortunately. Now let's get into the proper tips. So if I were you, this build is would have been my perfect stand-up build, but I just can't get the stand-up to work for me, because this build lets up too many bad rebounds, and it's just doesn't make the desperation saves that I need for just regular cross creases, even without 1-timer. So I just can't use this build. It is excellent at tips, it's excellent at screens. It doesn't get screened as bad, and with contortionist it helps you when you're moving in the opposite direction, but I just can't use this build. This build isn't for me. Try to make your own stand-up build though. Try and make all of the builds. So I'll go and explain that in a second. But so let's say I'm just making a new build, okay? This is what I'd do if I were you for all of the builds. So I would go in, okay? Personally, I like 6'5". 6'4" is playable, but I like 6'5". We're just gonna keep it at 200 pounds for now. If I was making a neutral build, I'd have dialed in on. I would want the sponge, and I would want X-ray. So after you make your build, okay, we're gonna discard, because just make your build, okay? And then after you make your build, hover over the build and then press start. Press whatever button you use to go against one-on-one against the computer. I'm gonna try and go through as quick as possible so this video isn't too long. What I want you to do is play against the computer. Don't press right trigger at all, or whatever you use for butterfly. Don't press Y or right trigger at all. See how your goalie does by himself. As you can see, he's going down by himself. This is my butterfly build. He's going down by himself. The rebounds are in decent place except for that one, but not all rebounds will be good. Okay, so he's not covering it, which is scaring me. If I was pressing Y and stuff, he would cover it a lot more. Like if I was in game, I would be covering all these because I'm holding down Y. But in this, I'm not doing anything to see how he does by himself. So that rebound went in the corner. He went down by himself. Okay, no 5-hole at all. He's not even going down, and he's still saving 5-hole. That's a huge advantage of the butterfly and high speed. If I had 86 speed, all of those were going 5-hole. On that one, 5-hole there. That happens when they're close and you don't go down, but no 5-hole that time. And of course, usually in game, I would be making all of the saves because I would play it differently. I would be going down and attempting, but I'm just seeing how he does by himself. Okay, rebound went in the corner. So those are the things you look for. And speak out loud, because if you're not saying anything, you would just think, you wouldn't notice everything. But when you're actually speaking to yourself on what's happening, you notice all of the advantages and disadvantages. So that's how you test out your build. And that's how I tested out my build. Because last video, you heard me say that I didn't even use that build yet in game. I only used it against the computer, and I already knew that it was going to be good. And it proved true. So that's how you test it out. Now, I want to acknowledge a comment someone made on my video. He said, use 96 recovery. Personally, I haven't seen recovery to be useful. Now, I actually tried to use it though, because anyone who comments anything, any tips, I try it out just to see what will happen. Now, with the high recovery, I had to sacrifice rebound control, so I couldn't have sponge on anymore. So we're actually just going to replace that with extra padding. So this is what my build would look like if I had 96 recovery or higher, which is unnecessary, like I said. So 96 recovery is the highest it will ever get. Even if I had it at 99, it wouldn't matter, it'd still be the same. But from my testing, I would just rather have the recovery that I already have on, which is 86, which is, I would have it lower if I wanted to, but I just have it at 86 because it doesn't really matter to me. I'm also going to re-explain what weight does because I didn't explain it that well in my last video, so I'm going to re-explain it now. Basically, weight doesn't affect your speed at all when you hold down the left stick. If you hold down the left stick, you don't move any faster with any speed, with any weight. But when you lower your weight, with one single push, you move faster and further with a single push, not when you're holding it down. And with higher weight, you move less distance and slower, so you feel heavier with higher weight. So in a nutshell, lower weight, further push and faster push, higher weight, slower push, but more controlled. Alright, so those are my builds. I think that's it. I think that's everything I wanted to explain. Oh, I was going to tell you guys why I have my glove higher than my stick. You can do this with the stick, vice versa. But the reason is because, like I said with the chart, 95 is better than a 91. It's at the next level of skill. So I could underplay my glove by a half push and my goalie would still make the glove save. So I could half push over to my blocker and he would still be in position because his glove is good enough. So that's why I have it like that. I'm also going to edit these because I don't need the poke check. I was just testing something out. But I'm going to put the glove stuff on just to help out, because the poke check stuff, I was just testing something, but it doesn't really matter in reality. Alright, so those are what my builds look like. I'll go through all of them so you can take a screenshot. This build is for if they have everything and nothing on, take a screenshot. This build is for one-timers, okay? And this build is for tip jar or big tipper. Now, again, if these builds don't work for you, don't complain, because I'm trying to tell you guys that this is my perfect build. It may not be your perfect build, so I want you guys to make your own, and I already showed you how to do that. Just make your build on how you think would fit your playstyle, because I'll tell you right now, I went through everything I have troubles with. Like I said, I suck at butterfly, so I have the speed high, I have a bunch of and I suck at rebound, so I have a bunch of rebound traits like sponge and dialed in. So, and it's the butterfly build, so 5 hole's already good with that. So I'll see you guys next time. I hope this video helps you out to make your own perfect build. Don't write stand up off just because it didn't work for me. It might work spectacularly with you, and same with hybrid. I know I don't like hybrid, but it might work for you anyway with how you play. Goodbye.